It's Tuesday. We have some more on the convention. I thought it was great last night, but I was keeping one eye on the convention and the other eye on Kenosha and the riots that were going on there. Main reason is because a coworker of mine, Elijah Schaffer, is what was smack dab in the middle of it. And I find out later that a gun was pulled on him. I guess the guy was not threatening you, but it sounds on the videotape that you have that he actually pulls the trigger. So it appears to have been an empty gun if that was the trigger pull. And he was explaining what he was going to do to cops if they rolled on him at that point. Elijah is with us now. Elijah, you're in Wisconsin. You're safe.
Yes, Glenn, I am safe, and thank you so much for having me on the show. But unfortunately, this city already under the heavy pressure of COVID and race tensions is definitely in a very bad position right now.
Tell me what happened last night. What did you see?
What I saw is something that I don't think you would ever want to see, especially in this country. Something that looks like it's from a movie. These are wild people under the guise of fighting for Black lives and against police brutality, indiscriminately destroying public property. And what I mean is I've never seen this before. They destroyed every single lamp post. These are large, 15, 25-foot high public lamp posts. They knocked them down in the street, broke open every window they could find, lit buildings on fire in huge acts of arson, destroyed dozens of city vehicles with Molotov cocktails, and they burned the city to the ground. So where was anyone to stop it? Was there a police presence at all? I mean, this is a city under curfew. They blocked the freeway exits to make sure that people were not exiting into downtown, doing everything they could, as a curfew. But was there any police spray? Was there anything to slow these people down? Glenn, I know your viewers probably already can predict what I'm about to say, but despite the National Guard being there, they were deployed despite what appeared to be some sort of state or county troopers and police. They were not there to protect the private property. They were not there to protect the citizens of the town. They were in a line protecting the county courthouse. And believe it or not, the only people that were there deterring crowds during the state of emergency and the curfew were what appeared to be vigilante or right-wing militiamen who were armed in brigs and were successfully deterring rioters from burning down and destroying additional businesses, while law enforcement pretty much did nothing. While that's not a slight, that's just a report of the facts. Well,
the law enforcement on the street is not making the decision on what to do. Those are the people above them. That's the governor and the mayor. So Madison, Wisconsin is one of the most progressive cities in the country. Wisconsin is a progressive state. What are the city leaders saying today? What's their plan?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm on the streets. I'm with some of my friends, George Ventura of the Daily Caller and Kaylin Delmeda of Scriber News, and we're out here. Where's ABC? Where's CNN? Where's MSNBC? But most importantly, where are the leaders? I haven't seen them. And I'm looking at business owners, people that are just confused because they're experiencing something that you shouldn't have to experience in the most powerful country in the world. We have the power to stop this. And there's not much that the city leaders can say besides condemning the violence. But when you condemn something but yet turn a blind eye to it and allow it to take place, your words really don't mean anything.
But are they actually condemning it? Are they saying Antifa and these riots, or are they saying these are peaceful protests? The usual crap from Seattle and Portland. Are the leaders in Wisconsin any different than those leaders?
As of today, I'm not sure of any public statements that have been made. I could be wrong. If one of your listeners will, correct me, I'd love you to reach out to me, Elijah Schaffer, on Twitter and let me know if you know something I don't. But I know that some of the live streams that happened yesterday, they were not adequate to condemn this to the full extent. And what happens is, and I think you'll know this, I'm predicting it's possible that the violence and the arson could be worse tonight because it accelerated last night from the night before. Because the city, Glenn, this is where it gets crazy. I showed up after the first day. I drove up here from Chicago covering protests and riots in Chicago, about an hour and a half south. And when I came here, they had not even cleaned up the city from the night before. There were still burned city vehicles that were in the streets. They were barely putting up some barriers. There was maybe 2 police officers that I saw within a few square blocks of the uptown region. I mean, this city was not prepared for what happened. They did not properly prepare the following day. And from what I could see, they did not provide the resources to this area that were needed to prevent this. And you have to ask yourself, being from a state, being from a country like this, how do we not have the resources? How do we not have the ability, the National Guard? No, we do have those resources, especially in a national crisis like this. But why were they not deployed? It can only make you think and wonder.
Well, I will tell you this. I've been saying that Wisconsin was going to be burned down to the ground this summer because that's where the convention was supposed to be. They should have been more prepared on what to do in case of riots and civil unrest than any other city in America. It looks like you don't need the Democrats to come to town. They got their operatives there burning things down anyway. Elijah, I'd be interested in hearing from the owner of the car dealership that had the sign "Black Lives Matter" up on the car dealership sign, and yet they burned every car in the lot.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in front of it right now. This is to your surprise. So the first night, they only burned part of the car lot. Last night, they successfully destroyed the rest of it to the array of massive explosions of fuel tanks combusting due to high temperatures and absolutely intolerable, I should say, heat that just, intolerable heat. That you just could not handle from even 20, 30 yards away. I mean, these are intense flames. I'm looking at that sign right now. I'm not sure if it belongs to the church right next to it or to the car lot, but I will say this: it is melted. These cars look like they're out of a Steven Spielberg film set. That's what I feel like I'm looking at. I'm on a tour at Universal Studios, but unfortunately, this one doesn't have a nice end to it. It just continues with violence, and it has to make you wonder. And you'll love this. The Democratic building right next to this is just about a block away, boarded up along with every other business, and it has its nice banners above, says "Vote Blue in November." I'll tell you what, this is what you get when you vote blue. It's ironic to tell people while your entire city is shut down. It doesn't matter what you put on your doors or your windows or your signs. Criminals do not follow party law. And a party that allows criminals to remain and to act unlawfully without proper consequence is not really a party at all. In fact, they've poised themselves against the American people, and they aren't even ashamed or hiding it anymore. And it's just sad.
Talking to Elijah Schaffer of Blaze TV. Must follow on Twitter at Elijah Schaffer. Elijah, you bring up something with this car dealership, and this is what I keep coming back to over and over again with every story you're covering like this. Day one, I understand. Like night one, you have this incident. It's a surprise out of nowhere. They burn half the car lot to the ground. Night two, I don't understand. Why on earth is the other half of this car lot being destroyed on night two as if they were shocked that this was going to go on? Why isn't anyone there to stop it?
And isn't there any uprising from the community saying, this is crazy, stop this?
I wish, but I'll tell you this. This is not the only car lot that ended up being destroyed. There was at least 3 other car lots that were the targeting of these vigilantes, both Black Lives Matter rioters, which wore the colors, etc., and the markings, but also there were Black Bloc Antifa. I noticed some journalists and people from Portland. These people get around. They move in directions, the same direction, which is towards chaos. And I cannot tell you how sad it is to realize that we do live in a country where the government cannot protect your property and cannot protect your livelihood. And the only businesses that I saw that did not get attacked were the ones that took their own precautions, put up boards, and in many cases, and this is where I love this Middle Eastern gas station owner. Oh, believe me, he was out in front with his boys holding bats, some very serious firearms, and I'll tell you what, nobody damaged that business because he came prepared and he knew what it was going to take to live out the American dream.
It's crazy.
His business still stands while the car lot next to it is completely burned to the ground.
Okay, I've got so much to. Maybe we'll have you on tomorrow if we can to cover what happens tonight. You say it's going to be worse. Let me just wrap up with this. The video. Let's play the video of the guy pulling the gun out of his pants and pointing it right at Elijah and pulling the trigger.
What do we do? That's right.
We blowing that thing.
That's right, man.
And what he was talking about is what he was going to do to the police. But when somebody pulls a gun out, a large gun, and pulls the trigger, what did that feel like?
Well, amidst multiple gunshots in the area, constant explosions, I didn't realize he dry fired until I got a call from the CEO of Blaze TV saying, you just got dry fired.
Yeah, you did.
Be safe. Get out if you need to get out. And I'll tell you what, I realized that this is why it's so volatile. I mean, if that had been loaded or if it had not jammed or whatever happened, I might not be here today. And I think that governors, mayors, city officials, senators need to realize that we are in a culture civil war, and we are very close to this becoming violent, not because of the people they're accusing, but simply because when people are emboldened and, to commit crimes because they're not held accountable, all it took was just one bullet in that gun to change this from a normal night to a bloody night. So that's where I'll leave it.
Thank you, Elijah. I appreciate it. Elijah Schaffer, Blaze TV host, Slightly Offensive, on the riots in Wisconsin last night. We hope to talk to you again tomorrow.